match last week when they were at home to Sligo, and it was a disappointing start to the day.
I get a chance to talk Roddy's but yeah, looking at it here, I was talking to somebody who was up there actually, and I said, the two full-backs were a bit suspect, If they're two full-backs and their back four don't stand up tonight, they could be in trouble.
The Rovers and Derry City started the new campaign well, with both of them winning on the opening weekend. Their meeting on Saturday afternoon at the Showgrounds produced plenty of talking points.
Caretaker manager Leo Tierney continued to take charge of Sligo after the departure of Rob McDonald. Derry boss Pat Fenlon went into the game without 8 first-team squad players due to injury and illness. Inside the first 10 minutes, Derry had a penalty. Jason McCartney was adjudged to have taken down Gareth McLean in the box. Mark Farron took the resulting spot kick, but Richard Brush got down well to parry the ball out for a corner. The Sligo keeper didn't look quite as assured when he failed to gather a Derry corner soon after, but any danger was quickly cleared. Derry had the lead shortly after the half hour. McLean and McCallion were involved in the build-up before Barry Malloy took aim. His effort may well have taken a deflection, but the ball flew over Brush from all of 30 yards. Derry would take a 2-goal lead into the break when Kevin McHugh doubled the lead on 40 minutes. His initial strike was blocked, but at the second time of asking, he got the better of not only the keeper, but also Keith Foy, who tried in vain to clear on the line. Just before the break, the free kick from Kevin Deary was straight at the Sligo keeper. Sligo needed a positive start to the second half, and Foy's free kick was fumbled out of play by Jennings at the expense of a corner. Sligo continued to look well capable of getting back into the game. Twice Patrick Jennings came for the ball, but twice he failed to collect. At the opposite end, Farron turned on the edge of the box, but was well off target. Stephen Manson picked out Chris Turner, but from the tightest of angles, he was unable to test Jennings. Barry Malloy fizzed a first-time volley narrowly wide. Mark Farron had another chance to register his second goal of the afternoon. He made good contact from the edge of the box, but Brush was again on hand to make the save. Derry lost Dave Rogers 4 minutes from time. He received a straight red card from referee Dave McKeown following his challenge on Chris Turner. The Derry defender clearly felt hard done by and needed to be restrained by Pat Fenlon as he vented his annoyance at the fourth official. A disappointing end to the game from a Derry viewpoint, but it's 2 wins out of 2 for Pat Fenlon's side.
Yeah, it was a good win. First half I thought we played well, played some good football, and second half we were poor. We gave the ball away too much for my liking, but again we defended well. So, but it's a difficult place to come to. Pitch was great at the start, but it got up a little bit then in the end, in fairness. But I thought when it was good, we passed the ball well and created a few chances.
We knew the first goal was going to be vital in the game. Unfortunately for us, a big deflection to put us one behind, and Derry then got on top of us for a 5 or 10 minute spell, and we just found it hard to get back into it. But we regrouped in the second half, and I thought we'd give a good account of ourselves in the second half.
In fairness to Sligo, I don't think there was any too malicious in the game, and I don't think even Davies' tackle was that he's eye on the ball, and he got the ball. As far as I could see, the ball came out, like I said, 10 yards at least. So I'm disappointed. Maybe the ref will have a look at it, he might change his mind.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that incident. Well, St Patrick's Athletic is a club, one of 2 unbeaten teams after the first 5 games of the new campaign. On Friday night, they played host to a Sligo Rovers side looking to bounce back from a 1-0 defeat at Bohemians the previous Friday.
This match was all about Drogheda United's superb first-half performance as Paul Doolan's side put the match beyond Sligo Rovers' reach inside the opening half an hour. The home side were in front after only 8 minutes thanks to a cracking goal from Eamon Zaid, his first of 2 on the night. When the ball was played into Declan O'Brien on the edge of the box, the Drogheda skipper chested it down into the path of Zaid, and he found the top corner of the net with a superb strike from the edge of the box. Drogheda continued to dominate and they went 2 in front on 24 minutes. Brian Shelley played a long ball forward and O'Brien refused to give up on it. Zoltan Vasa should have cleared, but instead the Drogheda striker dragged the ball back from the byline and then pulled it across for Zaid to finish from close range. There was no stopping the home side now, and just 3 minutes later the score was 3-0. Simon Webb's long ball was taken down brilliantly by O'Brien just outside the box, and then he curled a right foot shot past Sligo keeper Richard Brush into the bottom left-hand corner. Sligo were finding it very hard to get close to the Drogheda goal. Often they were forced to try their luck from distance, like this Rafael Quintero shot, which was deflected narrowly wide. On other occasions, when they got close, there simply wasn't enough to test Drogheda keeper Mikko Vilmanen. So no goals in the second half at United Park, but still a convincing win for Drogheda United, who are now level on points with St Pat's at the top of the Premier Division table.
Yes, indeed. Well, Dermot, 5 straight league wins for Drogheda United, certainly a top spot in the Premier Division on Saturday evening. Pats are away to Sligo Rovers at the Showgrounds.
For the second week in a row, Sligo were up against one of 2 unbeaten sides in the top flight. The previous week, Sligo came away from United Park empty-handed after a 3-0 defeat to Drogheda, but at the Showgrounds they were hopeful of giving St Pat's a sterner test. Bohemians ended Pat's 100% start to the season 9 days ago, but a win and a return to top spot in the Premier Division was the aim on Saturday evening. Rafael Quintero sent in an early corner. The final touch came off a Pats player as the ball drifted narrowly wide for another corner. Anton Murphy had a chance to give Pats the early lead when he raced onto Quigley's pass. Richard Brush got down well to make a one-handed save before collecting the ball. With a little over 15 minutes on the clock, Pats were awarded a penalty. A combination of Conor O'Grady and Chris Turner brought down Dave Mulcahy. Referee Dave McKeown was in the ideal position to make the decision. From the spot, Gary O'Neill sent Brush the wrong way, 1-0 Pats. Sligo responded well to the concession of an early goal. Adam Hughes passed to Jason McCartney on the edge of the box. His left foot strike was easily saved by Ryan. The Pats keeper was almost caught out by a Turner cross, but he did well to get a hand to the ball. Pats really should have made it 2-0 when Gary O'Neill set up Dave Mulcahy, but with only Brush to beat, Mulcahy was let down by the finish. Chris Turner tried his luck from long range and wasn't too far wide. But just before half-time, Pat's advantage was doubled. Anton Murphy sent in the cross. The final touch appeared to come off the head of Seamus Coleman. Pats took a 2-0 lead into the break. Facing a real uphill task, Sligo needed a positive start to the second half to get back into the game. From distance, Quintero's effort dipped, but not enough to trouble Barry Ryan. The game was put beyond Sligo when Pat scored again on 51 minutes. Sean Kelly was the unlucky player. His backward header looped over Brush. 3-0 Pats. By now, Pats were dominating the game, and Sligo were fortunate not to concede a 4th goal shortly after. Michael Foley's chip was cleared off the line by Adam Hughes. From O'Neill's overhead kick, Darren Maguire headed over. At the opposite end, Matthew Judge got on the end of Turner's free kick. Again, Ryan was on hand to make a comfortable save. Gary O'Neill and Michael Foley combined to set up Keith Fahey. Brush got down well to make the block. The 4th Pats goal came on the hour. Alan Kirby's cross eventually found its way to Dave Mulcahy. He skipped past Kelly before finishing well. The remaining half hour of the game produced little in the way of incident. Sligo did create the odd chance, but the damage had already been done. It's now 19 points from the opening 7 games for Pats. Along with Drogheda, the top 2 are now 7 points clear.
Well, we were very, very pleased. It's generally a very difficult place to come to Sligo and win games, but it was a comprehensive win today. Smashing all-round performance, workmanlike, good finishing, good goals, and I think there was no doubt we deserved to win by at least 4 goals.
Realistically, they're top 4 team and they're looking to win the league. They're at the top of the table, that's why they're there. They're a very good squad of players. For us, you know, we have to make sure that we beat the teams that's going to be around us, and as people say, it's like a 2-tier league, and we have to make sure that we can beat the teams that's in the 2nd tier.
Well, there were some good results last night in terms of from Drogheda's position and our position, in that Cork, Bohemians and Derry all dropped points, teams that you would be expecting to challenge. But you know, all those teams are well capable of putting 5 or 6 or 7 wins together in a row, which will get them back into contention. It's unlikely both ourselves and Drogheda can keep going as we are. We will hit a few humps and bumps along the road, and there will be opportunities for others to get back in. But all we can do is play our football as we are at the moment and keep trying to get the points. Everybody's working very, very hard to achieve the results we're getting. We're playing good football, and we'll see where it takes us.
We have to just get back to basics again, you know, work hard. There's nothing wrong with the spirit, is super, and the players, I think, show that because they kept going to the very end. But you know, we've hard run there. You know, we've had Bowes, Drogheda, both away from home, Pat's coming here on a good run. It was always going to be difficult for us, you know. But you know, we have Waterford next week, and we're, you know, just make sure we get everybody right and look forward to going to the game and getting the result.
Yes, indeed. Well, Paul, 3 Millions clash with UCD at Dalymount Park coming up shortly. But first we head to Talca Park, where it was a battle of the Rovers. Shamrock Rovers took on Sligo Rovers, knowing a win could take them into the top 4.
In a scrappy opening period at Talca Park, both sides found it difficult to keep possession and chances were at a premium. The visitors came closest to breaking the deadlock in that time. Chris Turner found some space to fire in a shot from outside the box, which Barry Murphy got down well to save. It took 20 minutes for the host to threaten. Derek Pender's dangerous cross was missed by Andy Myler, but still had to be diverted to safety by Tomislav Arkaba. On 25 minutes, the Hoops should have gone in front, but David O'Connor volleyed straight at the keeper from close range after Pender's corner kick. Fran Kodosevic tested Murphy from this free kick before the break, but the teams went in scoreless. As the first half had, the second half started scrappily. That was until Cassidy fired an effort narrowly wide from the edge of the area. Sligo's forays forward became more and more sporadic, and Keith Foy's free kick was as close as they came in the second half. 10 minutes from time, David McGill caused trouble down the visitors' left flank. His cross was missed completely by Tyg Purcell. O'Connor blazed over at the back post. McGill himself came close with time ticking away. Arkaba did well to keep his volley out. But just as it seemed Sligo would hang on for a point, the home side came up with a winner 4 minutes into stoppage time. Paul Cook will be unhappy that his defence failed to clear the ball fully as Shamrock Rovers players swarmed all over the box. It eventually found its way to Juro, and the striker showed great composure to take his time and curl in a left-footed effort. The ball ended up in the net, although question marks must be asked about the goalkeeping. Arkaba got a strong hand to the ball and possibly should have pushed it to safety. So 1-0, and the points were Pat Scully's sides, but there was still time for even more late drama. Right from the kick-off, a fight broke out between the two sets of players. When order was eventually restored, referee Paul Chute dismissed Hoops midfielder Danny O'Connor and Sligo's Peter Badzak.
It was a shame what happened at the end. I thought they overreacted. It was a 50-50 tackle. I thought Derek Pender went for the ball. There was nothing malicious in it. I think they waded in, you know, throwing punches and stuff like that. No, I feel a bit sorry for Danny O'Connor because, you know, although people say, you know, you shouldn't retaliate, you know, it's very difficult when someone tears into you and starts punching you in the face. It is very, very difficult, and I thought Danny just basically defended himself. So I don't really have much of a problem with my players' behaviour for that. I thought their reaction was way over the top.
From my point of view, you'd say that, you know, from our lads, it was very disappointed they conceded a goal. From their lads with the euphoria, the scoring, you know, I think both sets of teams were involved in it. It'd be lovely and not an ideal word if we could all just shake hands and walk away and say, well, put it down to experience. Obviously, if there's people watching, I don't think that'll happen.
We've got good players, and tonight I thought we really went out and played really, really well. We were very, very positive, and it keeps us nicely in there. We're nicely in there. as I said, maybe you would like to be a little bit closer to the Drogheders and Pats and people like that. But I said we've made mistakes and we've got to learn from that.
At Dailyman Park,
Struggling to score goals.
Well, that's the weather.
That was part one of the late drama, Paul. This is part two of the late drama.
Well, this we picked out. Paddy picked out a fella here, and he's going to box in the stadium next week. He's wearing a yellow bib there, and he sneaked in with a slide at punch. And nobody's seen him. No, I mean that's on call for. And I'd say Paul Cook was probably right. Frustration on behalf of the Sligo players conceding the goal. Unfortunately, we didn't see the incident, that led to the melee. But
2 sending offs there.
Danny O'Connor's unlucky, and really, when you look at that, I mean, if you were to analyse that and go through it, there probably could have been 7 or 8 players that were sent off. The rule is, if you raise your hand, the intent to strike somebody, you should be sent off. So I mean, there were lots of punches.
That's Scully coming in as well. I don't think would ever help a situation like that either. I mean, the manager, I don't think should be coming in and
well, maybe in his defence, he was just trying to get his own players away from the team.
Yeah, but don't you know
that something similar, Paddy, in the Carling Cup final, didn't we, with Wenger on the pitch and Mourinho?
Yeah, it can cause all sorts of problems. You want to get bodies away and keep away from them, and try and get somebody calm in there. Somebody like you.
Held on last week's win over St. Pat's, while Sligo were hoping to bounce back from their narrow defeat by Sligo Rovers.
Sligo Rovers were looking to record their first win in 6 games when they played host to Cork City at the Showgrounds. The home side were without Jason McCartney, Peter Badzik, Gary Kern and Brian Cash. However, Seamus Coleman recovered from his thigh strain to start, while Conor O'Grady was named on the bench. Cork City made one change from the side that beat St Patrick's Athletic at Turner's Cross. John O'Flynn returned to the starting lineup in place of Liam Carney and partnered Dennis Behan up front, with Roy O'Donovan moving to the right wing. The game got off to a frenetic start and both teams went close to scoring in the early stages. Matthew Judge clipped the ball over to Stephen Manson, but his effort flew across the face of Mick Devine's goal. Minutes later, City enjoyed their first chance. O'Donovan collected a long clearance before sending in a low shot, which was eventually held by Rovers keeper Tommy Arkeba. It was a high-tempo game and Chris Turner went close after half an hour. The midfielder spotted Mick Devine off his line, but his impressive effort went over the bar. The goal did finally come for Rovers, though, on 36 minutes. Turner sent in a pass to Judge, who flicked the ball and turned away from Dan Murray and fired in past Devine. The force was with Rovers, and a minute before half-time they doubled their advantage. Judge threaded the ball through to Godozovic and the 22-year-old bore down on goal, but Devine came out and upended him. The referee was left with no option but to award a penalty, and he booked Devine. And it was Turner who stepped up to the mark and coolly slotted the ball home. The home side led 2-0 at half-time. But Rovers weren't going to sit back and protect that lead. There was just a minute of the second half gone when they scored their 3rd goal of the night. Judge sent a long ball forward for Turner to chase. He wriggled his way past Murray and chipped the ball over the keeper. Minutes later, Rovers went very close to notching up another goal. Manson sent in a pass to Godozovic, but his close-range effort was impressively saved by Devine. Judge scored his 2nd goal of the night on 72 minutes. He blocked Neil Horgan's attempted clearance. He then took Horgan to the cleaners again when he backheeled the ball between Horgan's legs and still got the better of the City defence before curling the ball into the back of the net. Billy Woods grabbed a late consolation goal for the visitors in injury time, but an impressive 4-1 to Rovers was how it finished for new boss Paul Cook's first win.
Yeah, fantastic performance from start to finish. I thought we were magnificent. We've had a rough week. All in all, we've lost 2 games, one to Shamrock and one to Finn Harps very late in the game. Today, I think most people have drifted us off. As I thought, it was a banker Cork win. And, like I said to the lads, no team has a divine right to win football games. Cork are a very good side, they've got very good players. But at the end of the day, we're allowed to go out and compete. And from the first minute to the 90th, we competed really well.
Sometimes when you have 1 or 2 players who don't play well, it makes life difficult for you. But every now and then you get a night when nobody plays well. And we had that sort of night. And right from the first whistle, we were disjointed. Right from the fourth whistle we weren't competing, and we were beaten by a Sligo team who had full honesty, full endeavour and full passion for the cause, and they caught us on a bad night and they took full advantage of it. And to me it's as simple as that. This is a good team we've got, and every now and then you get a little kick up the backside, and we got that tonight.
Yes, indeed, Dermot. A kick.
On Friday night, Pats entertained Sligo Rovers at Richmond Park. The league leaders were hoping to build on the previous Monday night's win over Drogheda United.
Victory over Drogheda last Monday convinced the critics that St Pat's are equipped to stay the trip in the title race, but Johnny McDonnell admitted that would count for little unless they garnered the points on offer against Sligo to build momentum. Sligo have been consistently inconsistent this term. A 4-1 win over Cork was followed by a 2-0 defeat at Bray last time out, but Paul Cook was hoping for a positive showing in Inchicore, and they started brightly. Rafael Cretaro registered the first strike on target. Barry Ryan found himself in action again 60 seconds later. He adjusted himself sufficiently to claim judges' curling effort. Sligo's bright start was undone by a moment of madness in the 21st minute. Conor O'Grady's back pass sent Gary O'Neill bearing down on goal, and he kept his composure to finish. That put the pep in Pat's step, and they came close to adding to their tally before the break. Sean O'Connor was blocked after being cleverly teed up by Keith Fahey. The impressive winger came even closer minutes later. His effort from distance flashed narrowly wide. The Saints continued where they left off when play resumed. Rovers goalkeeper Tomislav Arkaba had to be alert to gather from Quigley. At the other end, the visitors should have clawed level. A sweeping move presented Gary Kern with a glorious chance, but he was unable to supply the finish. They were to rue that miss when Mark Quigley doubled the home side's advantage in the 56th minute. The striker himself released Anto Murphy on the right before finding himself in acres of space to head home the resulting cross. Sligo heads dropped and 2 became 3 shortly after. The right-hand side proved lucrative once more in an almost carbon copy of the second. This time O'Neill was the architect. O'Connor provided the finish. Sligo did pull one back through Turner when the ball fell kindly to him from Godosevic's cross. Some reward for his night's endeavour, but it did little to dampen the spirits of the home support as Pats moved 8 points clear.
We done okay. It was a different game than the match on Monday with Drogheda, but they had a go, in fairness to them. They played 3 up front and they had a go with us, and we had to go back 4-4-2, but we didn't play particularly well, but we were very professional in what we done. Second half performance then again, we finished the game strong, looked fairly fresh. 3 good goals, good passing movement for the goals. The good bit of belief there, no matter what's happening, that we're going to be okay and we get through the game.
We did start well. We come here tonight to cause St Pat's a few problems. We certainly wanted to attack them. We didn't want to come here and be negative. And we started the game well. And obviously, Conor O'Grady's made a mistake for the goal. But I thought Conor was excellent on the night. He's worked ever so hard. And that's when you have to learn. We learn from the mistakes. You can't come to places like this and gift St Pat's a goal.
There is quality around. The scouts here again tonight looking at a few of our players. But no, we're happy enough. We don't want to break the rhythm now. We got to keep this going. This time last year, after the first 11 games, we went into the break and then we lost our momentum a little bit. But hopefully we can just keep it going this season.
Bohemians at the Showgrounds.
Sligo Rovers versus Bohemians with 3 points up for grabs. But the subplot at the Showgrounds was the return of Sean Connor to his former club. Few could have questioned his decision to seek a bigger challenge at Bohemians, and his legacy at Sligo Rovers was underlined by the fact that he had brought in 9 of the home side's starting 11 on Saturday night. An intriguing game produced its first goal after just 7 minutes. Keith Foy's in-swinger hit the post, but when Gavin Pearce steered the ball back across goal, Matthew Judge was there to apply the finish. Bohemians drew level from the penalty spot early in the second half, and unfortunately the cameras do not shed any light as to why the spot kick was awarded. But once the free was sent in, referee Declan Hanney blew his whistle and showed a yellow card to Sligo defender Seamus Coleman. The home side protested and Keith Foy was also booked by Hanny, but once things had settled down, Mark Rossiter stepped up and slotted home the penalty. 1-1, and at that stage the game could have gone either way. Deep into injury time it went, and Neil Fenn should have done better from Heary's cross. And certainly Bows were made to pay for missing those kind of chances, because shortly afterwards, in the 96th minute, Sligo were awarded their own spot kick when Faridan Kudozovic was tripped by Liam Burns. No argument this time with the referee's decision, and Kudozovic himself converted the penalty. The final whistle sounded shortly afterwards, and Sligo had won a dramatic match against the side now led by their former boss.
Disappointing that we didn't take advantage of the slip-ups by St Pat's and Drogheda. Disappointing that we didn't pick up a point. I don't think our performance merited 3 points. I think we were very, very poor in the first half, but ourselves back in early in the second half. We created enough chances in the second half to maybe nick a win, but got very, very sloppy and very naive for that last that last minute penalty kick. So that's disappointing. The bigger picture, we haven't really lost any ground, and we're probably just in the position we were before the start of play. But we've got to, we'll go away, we'll lick our wounds. We're disappointed. The players in there are disappointed, and nobody's more disappointed than me. But we'll have to readdress the situation. And we've got a fantastic cup title to look forward to, and try and get this game out of our system.
Cup more times than any other team, but to say Shamrock Rovers are the cup specialists has become a bit of a misleading tag, given that their last cup success came way back in 1987. But their fans' expectations were high on Saturday night that a home game against Sligo Rovers would provide a ticket through to the third round.
The home side were without their first-choice centre-back. Aidan Price was injured while Barry Ferguson was suspended. Sligo Rovers were missing Rafael Quintaro after he failed a fitness test on a knee injury picked up against Bows, and Keith Foy was sidelined due to a one-match suspension. But Shamrock Rovers got off to the best possible start, taking the lead in the 10th minute. Tyke Purcell, a recent winner of the Player of the Month award for May, was on the mark again for Pat Scully's side, heading past Richard Brush with trademark precision from Ger Rowe's cross. But Sligo hit back in the 24th minute amid confusion in the Shamrock Rovers defence, but credit the away side for their fluid passing movement. Matthew Judge slid the ball through, and Faridan Kudozovic beat the home side's attempt at an offside trap before finishing past Barry Murphy. Things went from bad to worse for the Hoops just 5 minutes later when Judge put Sligo 2-1 in front with a well-struck shot from outside the box that Murphy could only get his fingertips to. The visitors could have added to their tally before half-time, but some reshuffling by Pat Scully at half-time saw the home side better organised after the break. Shamrock Rovers put themselves back in contention on 65 minutes when the Sligo defence went to sleep, and Andy Myler found the back of the net after being picked out by Mark Lantry, one of 3 under-21 players featuring in the Hoop side. But the brittle nature of the home side was once again underlined in the lead-up to what was to prove the game's winning goal. Just 2 minutes after Shamrock Rovers had equalised, a long ball over the top suggested little danger, but defender Dean Lawrence and goalkeeper Murphy ran into each other, gifting Kudozovic an open goal. The collision between Lawrence and Murphy provided a moment of real concern for the welfare of the Hoops keeper. The match was delayed for 15 minutes as Murphy was treated on the pitch for a neck injury, as medics were reluctant to risk moving him. He was then rushed to hospital as Stephen O'Brien, the former Longford Town and Bows goalkeeper, was introduced for his Hoops debut. Fortunately, it was confirmed today that Murphy's injury is not as serious as initially believed. He underwent an X-ray and a CAT scan. However, doctors have given him the all clear, and Rovers hope to see him back playing in about 3 weeks' time. The lengthy delay led to 16 minutes of injury time being added on. Scrambles in both penalty areas ensued, but the scoreline didn't change as Shamrock Rovers continued the search for their 25th FAI Cup. But Sligo Rovers deservedly went through, and a decent cup run can't be ruled out now for Paul Cook's side.
I think we've only won one game, so I think looking to say that you can win the cup, no, we just want to consolidate our league position. We do not want to be involved in a relegation battle. That's priority at the minute. Certainly anything we get in the cup, it'd be nice to get a home tie and it'd be nice to get a big crowd at the showgrounds to make everyone smile.
Get knocked out in the first round is not very good, and you know it's not acceptable. I mean, I thought we started the game quite well. We were playing all right. We got a very good goal, and we were basically sticking to what we tried to do. And we just had a mad 20-minute spell in the first half where we just, you know, some of our passing and stuff was suicidal, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We made 2 very bad mistakes, gave them 2 goals. I don't know whether the first one was offside, but it was very poor defending. But we done well, to be fair, to get back into it, to get the 2-2 then, and then literally two minutes later, like I know you're not allowed to criticise referees, but you know I don't think our defender jumped on top of Barry Murphy. And what I was very disappointed with was the reaction of the officials to think that they were going to still tip off when Barry Murphy was still lying on the ground. I mean, there was at least half a minute before the referee went up to see how the goalkeeper was. I mean, if that had been serious as in towards swallowing his tongue or anything like that, you know, you're talking about very, very serious stuff there. So, you know, I was very disappointed with how the whole situation was handled. And especially, it's one thing to get knocked out for a goal like that, but also for the safety of the player. I was very, very disappointed, and I was very, very irate as well, because I mean it seemed to be a case of let's just get on with the match, like while our goalkeeper was still stretched out on the pitch. So that's all in all, it was extremely disappointing way to get knocked out of the cup, but what can you do?
Okay. To Belfield on Friday night, looking to build upon their big cup win over Salt Hill Devon. But Sligo enjoyed cup success at Shamrock Rovers and travelled to the capital in high spirits.
Improving Sligo went to Belfield looking for their first win at UCD in 25 years, but it was the hosts who made the early running. MacDonald's effort produced a smart save from Richard Brush in the Sligo goal. UCD's direct approach was causing Sligo problems as they struggled to clear their lines. The dangerous Derek Doyle was stopped. Conor Kenna's effort found Richard Byrne, but the striker was in an offside position. Sligo went in front 3 minutes after the restart. Sean Kelly, Stephen Manson, Chris Turner and Matthew Judge all combined beautifully to unlock the UCD defence. Captain Adam Hughes with the cool finish, his first of the season. The UCD responded well, midfielder Shane McFall showing good tenacity, but his finish didn't trouble Brush. The students continued to ask questions of the Sligo defence. Paul Crowley's cross was only half cleared, McFall's effort struck the post and almost rebounded in off the Sligo keeper, but Pear's clearance protected Sligo's slender lead. UCD continued to press, but for all their attacking intentions, they couldn't find a way through. Salmon's effort was blocked, and when substitute Shane Fitzgerald's wayward cross was cleared, Turner put Judge in the clear. The striker still had work to do, but he showed good composure to go past keeper Matt Craig and Conor Kenna to make it 2-0 with 15 minutes to go. The hosts threw everything forward in an attempt to get something from the game. Byrne's stinging shot was kept out by Brush. And the Sligo keeper then denied Timmy Purcell in the closing stages with another decent stop. Unfortunately for Sligo, the danger still wasn't over as Fitzgerald hung up a cross from the right, but MacDonald failed to take the chance that was created for him. First home defeat in 3 months for UCD, Sligo move up 2-6.
I thought they had a couple of chances, I might be wrong. You know, our keeper made a couple of good saves. Was it a fair result? I don't know, I just think luck's on our side at the minute. We're in that little vein of form where we think we're going to win. And that's a nice sort of, you know, quality to have at your football club. I think UCD on another night would have scored a goal or two. So whether it was a fair result or not, I don't know. You know, I'm obviously delighted with the 3 points, and that's all you're concerned about.
I don't think we actually played well enough to win the game, but we certainly had enough chances to win the match. I thought maybe Sligo, you know, passed the ball better than we did. You know, we couldn't really get the grips at times. But as I said, we had a lot of good chances, clear-cut chances there, and how we didn't score is beyond me. But credit to Sligo, they had a couple of chances themselves, took 2 of them, and you know, they won 2-0, and you know, we can't really be too critical because we did, as I said, great chances, and on another night we would have got 2 or 3.
Yeah, like, to be honest, when I've gone through I was a bit nervous, like it was bobbling up, so last option is I've gone to shoot, he's gone down, so I've gone round him. Another defender come, sort of made my mind up again, and I just stroked it in. I think I would have been coming off if I missed that, but luckily it went in 2-0, so it's a good win.
Well, Paddy, Sligo's revival played host to Longford Town on Saturday evening, and the hosts were made to work hard by the team that are still propping up the table.
Sligo started the brighter at the showgrounds and caused the visitors' defence problems from the off. The best of the early chances fell to Faz Kudosevic. He got on the end of a cross from the right wing but couldn't direct his header on target. Soon afterwards, Matthew Judge came within a whisker of giving his side the lead. He turned well at the edge of the box and fired his left-footed effort just a fraction wide. But against the run of play, Longford hit the front 11 minutes in. A superb cross from Patrick O'Sullivan was headed home by Ian Wexler, coming in at the back post. Sligo went in search of an equaliser, and Conor O'Grady's long-range effort was well held by Shea Kelly. And the hosts went even closer as the half-time whistle approached, but it was Longford who were one up at the break. But 2 goals in 8 second-half minutes completely changed the complexion of this match. Sligo were awarded a dubious penalty in the 58th minute when Sean Prunty was adjudged to have taken Brian Cash down in the box. Longford's protests were to no avail. Kudosevic stepped up to slot home the equaliser from the spot for his 5th league goal of the season. And in the 66th minute, the hosts were ahead. Rafael Cretaro got on the end of a delightful Judge cross and flashed a header beyond the reach of Kelly. Just 3 minutes later, Longford almost drew level. David Freeman glanced a header across goal, but it came back off the post. Sligo finished the stronger and should have made it 3-1 before the end. Kudosevic hammered a spectacular volley off the bar. When the ball came back into play, sub Gary Kern inexplicably missed in front of an open goal. But 2-1 was enough to give Sligo the points.
I've watched Longford 3 times this year, and they're a very good side. They are a good side in my opinion. They play good football. They're very dangerous on set pieces. They obviously work hard on them. They have a lot of good movement. You know, and I knew it was a difficult game. Luck is on our side at the minute. I said at UCD last week, I'm a big believer that luck has a big part to play in football. You know, on any given day today, it could have easily been 2-2, 3-2 Longford, 2-1, you know, and it's gone our way, and we're delighted with that.
Yeah, the gaffer had some harsh words to say, which was expected. He didn't even need to say anything, to be honest, because everyone in themselves knew what we had to do. And he just said, if you play like that again, there would have been a lot of trouble, and we all knew that in ourselves, and we'd have lost. But we've come out second half, played the way we've been playing last 3-4 games, where we've got the wins, and of course then we've won the game, so it's pleasing.
Well, Pat, 3